Good to see you, man.
You
Dean
too,
Brody, Paul McGuire. You're in the big chair, so you have to answer the questions. I get to ask them.
Okay.
That's the way this works. New album. What's it called?
It's called Trail in Life.
Why?
It is the title track. One of the songs on there is a real meaningful song that I wrote, and it's also been like my life. My life's been kind of like a trail.
You know, it's for people who don't know your story, for the uninitiated. I think maybe we'd just delve back into that a little bit because it hasn't just been smooth sailing. It's not like you woke up one day, wrote a hit song, and then record labels were fighting over you, and you started cashing the checks, right?
Yeah.
There's been a little bit of back and forth, living in Canada, living in the States, and dealing with the business side of things. Tell me a little bit about it again.
Yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing. The winding part of the whole business is trying to navigate the red tape in the U.S., living legally in the U.S., and trying to get all your stuff, always on time, and get your passports, make sure they're, ready to go. And it's all been red tape. That's what's made it so tough to navigate having a country music career in Nashville and getting it started there.
I know there was a time when it kind of stopped in the middle of the last decade, and you went back to kind of looking for a regular job again. But now, obviously, you're back in it. You got 5 CCMA nominations. You're kind of a part of the Canadian country music fabric now. Did you ever think? I mean, there must have been a point where you thought it was over.
Yeah, there definitely was. There was a point where we were back in Canada because of things had fallen through with my first writing deal, and we'd spent pretty much a year back in Canada trying to get back down there, and things just weren't working out. And my wife and I decided, we need to make a living.
Yeah.
Get a real job, and we had a little.
Was it really that? You needed to make. We need to pay some bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure from people outside who don't understand the job and the business and stuff, and I just felt a lot of pressure from myself even to provide, and so yeah, we went up to a coal mining town, and I applied at the mine there.
So BC originally, then some Nashville time. East Coast is where you call home now.
Yeah.
Canada has embraced you wholeheartedly, and you've had success in the States as well. It's just, I guess, some, like you said, the red tape has gotten in the way. Is the fight to make it in the States worthwhile? Is it necessary?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think some people argue it gives you credibility, but we've got some amazing talent up here, man. There's some really talented guys who've started in Canada and who have great careers. I think of Gord Bamford.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he's one of the best singers that I've heard in Nashville or in Canada. So somehow it does give us credibility, I think, if we can make it in Nashville first. I'm not sure why.
I guess there is an interesting perception in Canada, though. I know that I have people, friends of mine on the broadcast side, who couldn't get a cup of coffee in Canada until they moved to the States. Mm-hmm. Even though when they were in the States, they were broke and they weren't doing anything. But just people in Canada heard they were in the States, so they're like, oh, they must be doing something. They must be good. And then they got jobs in Canada after that. They got hired back in Canada. I think that's a horrible commentary on our mindset in Canada. It's like, oh, they must be good. The Americans want them. Even they were broke ass in the States doing their thing,
Yeah.
So, I mean, but not to say that being in Nashville and cutting some chops and meeting some people and having good writing meetings isn't a good thing to do.
Yeah.
That's probably a good thing to see, right?
That was the best thing. That's what was worth it for me. Years ago, I asked Paul Overstreet, if I want to make it in this business, what should I do? And he was like, you need to move to Nashville, make it your home, and start networking. And that was the key. I think that's why Nashville's a smart move, is that a lot of creative people are there, and you can write, and you can meet people, and as you meet this person, they introduce you to this person, and it really is it's a good place to start and to hone, if you're a songwriter, hone your craft there.
What's the worst part about Nashville?
The summer heat. If you got Canadian blood, you better get ready for a hot summer.
But I mean, but on the business side of things, is it like comparable to Hollywood if you're an actor and you're trying to knock on doors and nobody's?
Yeah.
Or is there a downside that way? Everybody's really competitive, trying to step on each other, or is the community aspect there?
I think there's a community aspect, especially among songwriters,
Yeah.
and even label heads. Like, I was surprised at how open and really kind and accommodating they were. They weren't like, cutthroat. There's always cutthroat people out there, but I've found those kind of people, the people that were hard to deal with, were on the outer rings, scrapping to make a living. But the guys who, the head of A&R at Sony and stuff, they were real helpful. That was my big break, was Cliff Aldrich Sr. at Sony.
Yeah. So I'm sure now, every time that you get a #1, every time that you realize that people are responding to your music, because the struggle was a little bit more intense, it must be a little bit more satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It is.
A little sweeter?
It's very sweet. I just love my life right now, and just the fact that I can make a living doing this.
I get the sense, though, if you needed to, you'd be ready to go back and work at the mine, though, if you had to or something.
If I had
go
to.
up and start logging or doing whatever you needed to do.
Yeah, because I've worked in a sawmill, and I've got friends that work in a coal mine, and it's a good job. It's a good way to make a living, but this is, for me, better right now.
Well, you're good at it. You know, you really are an incredibly talented guy, and we do have a lot of talent in Canada, but you do have a sound that is, I think, really indicative of the modern sound of country. It harks back to the traditional country without being cheesy poppy stuff now as well, right? You've honed in on something really, really nice. A couple of people mentioned Brad Paisley when they were talking about you. It's not just a similarity in the voice. I think there's an appreciation for the music where it came from and where it's going that you've kind of nailed as well.
Yeah.
But looking at a couple of videos on YouTube, the comments, when you go and look at any other artist, there's always some jackass online that's gone like, this guy sucks. There's always, you know, the comments under there. Not one for you. Everything is gushing. Every one of them is gushing. I love this song. I listen to it with my wife, blah, 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 all this stuff. You got a real positive thing going on.
That's good, because I don't do that.
Don't screw it up.
I don't look at my comments, because I'm scared of that guy who's out there going, this guy sucks.
Oh, he's out there. He just, he's
just
on
watched
my
this actually
website
right now. He's watching this right now, and he's typing furiously.
You know, I don't know what it is. If it's, do you think it's your honesty, the fact that your story's you've been so open about where you've come from and stuff, and that people know your story a little bit? Brothers helped, obviously. You know, that they know that you're a sensitive guy, but you can write a great song. What do you attribute the way that people have responded to you so far?
I don't know. I guess, for one, country radio in Canada has really given me a chance and really believe in what I do. So they get it out to the people, and the people and the fans have been really good to me too. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people do songs about the military or about an event or a tragedy, it seems opportunistic. Brothers didn't seem that way at all.
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably why people responded so strongly to it.
Maybe, and I didn't want Brothers to be the first single because of that. I didn't want it to seem like we were trying to use that avenue to break me as an artist. And we weren't going to do Brothers at first. We had another single picked out, and we went all around the country, but people kept saying, we want to play this song. We want Brothers. And so that's why we went with it in the end.
All right, you played a couple of tracks for us here in the room today. Tell me about Wildflower first.
Wildflowers is just a song I wrote. My wife's name is Iris Rose, so I had to write a song about wildflowers. And yeah, I just wrote it, and it's a love song, and once in a while I try and tap into that part of me. Very rarely, but I'll go there.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So you're writing about your wife. That's a vulnerable space to go to as a writer.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I'd want people reading love letters that I wrote to. I haven't written a love letter.
You don't want to read my... No, I don't want anybody reading my love
No,
letters.
no. But this is a love letter to your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should see the love letters, man. They're bad. They're so bad, and she keeps them. If I had it my way, I'd get rid of them, but she...
But you, so see, there's all these guys out there right now who are listening to this going, I don't write, I suck. You actually write love letters to your wife as well?
No, back when we were dating.
Back when you were dating. You don't anymore.
Well, maybe I should. But
maybe you should. Okay, good. You're like all of us. We get sloppy and lazy. Yeah. All right, and you sang also today?
People Know Me by Your First Name.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, it's a song about small towns and stuff, and that's heavily inspired by Jaffrey, the place I grew up in, and yeah, a lot of that stuff's true story stuff. So.
You know, it's interesting though, that idea of small towns. I mean, how many more? You know, can a country musician write another song about a small town? Yes, you can.
Well, you can, because you make it your own.
Yeah.
Every small town's different, but it has similarities. So, I think that's why we can sing this song. Is a lot of people relate to it, but there's some new stuff in there too that I hadn't heard before. All
right, so you're traveling with this record now. It's been received really, really well. What's the game plan?
Just tour as much as we can, get out there and spread the word and meet the fans and have shows and have a good time with people.
You're a hardworking guy. You know that not as many people are purchasing albums in stores, so you have to make your make your money by actually touring and getting out there and doing that stuff. But that's kind of what you were doing anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we love the live show. For me, is what it's all about. It's there's nothing more fun. We were in Ranchman's a couple nights ago, and it doesn't get any better than that. It's so fun. The people are there. We're all having a good time, and the band's having a good time, and that's what it's all about.
Top of the world, my friend. Nice job.
Yeah.
Right now, the new album sounds really, really great.
Thanks, Paul.
Well deserved.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right, bye.
Appreciate it.